Residents in Lusikisiki in the Eastern Cape are calling for the deployment of more police officers in rural areas. This after 18 people were gunned down in Ngobozana village last Saturday. Traditional leaders believe the deployment of more law enforcement officials will help curb the killings and gender-based violence in the area. SABC News reporter Nomzwanele Mngoma has more.
Greetings to you and to the viewers at home. We are still in Lusikisiki, where 18 people were murdered last Saturday. We were in town trying to speak to young people of this area, but they were not comfortable showing their faces or speaking to the media rather, because they are saying that they do not feel safe, not because they are scared of criminals, but they are not They are accusing police of working with criminals. But we do have Prince Mbasa just to engage with us about the things that are happening in this area. Mbasa, welcome to the SABC.
Thank you very much.
Mbasa, we understand that there is a role that is played by traditional leaders in fighting issues in the area. What role are you playing as Amafako Royal House, especially in Lusikisiki as a whole, in fighting this crime?
So I think the question firstly is a good one, because it signals that there is a role that we ought to play. And as we had stated in our first statement, dated 28 September, there's a need for collaborative action. And that's what we're working towards. One of the issues that was highlighted was the prevalence of crime. But then more than anything, I think our position is that we shouldn't try to solely blame the police, because if we're going to be honest, the criminals themselves are people who are our brothers, they are people who are our uncles, our relatives. They were raised by our parents, not by the government, not by the police. And so it signals a decay in our own moral fabric. So we are trying to assess that. We are trying to change the way we approach these things. So ordinarily what you would get would be a soccer tournament, for example, that it's said to be a gender-based violence awareness tournament. But then that's an event. We're now trying to work towards launching social programs that run throughout the year so that people are groomed and that we don't have a situation where a condition or an ordeal such as this can reproduce itself. So I think that's what we are trying to do, because this is essentially a social issue and it has economic elements to it as well. So we need to develop an economic program that complements the social programs that we want to launch. I think that's what we are working towards right now as a Mafago Royal family.
You are talking about an impact, economic impact. Yes, and I believe that these criminal activities are also impacting or has an impact in the development in Lusikisiki. Are there any projects maybe that have faced or that have been stopped because of crime that is happening in this area?
As far as we know, there have been a few attempts by criminal elements to stop these mega projects. But again, I think these are things that have to be tackled in collaboration with the police services, and we need to tighten the way we engage our community so that they feel safe to report wrongdoing, and then you let the law take its course. But beyond that, I think what's important for us is trying to ensure that you expand economic inclusivity. So the royal family is engaged in trying to see how we can maximize all of this fallow land for agricultural processes to make sure that young people are put to work, they're engaged in something positive. And then from that, you can run your social programs that ensure that the way that young people are socialized into adulthood can then change. And once you can have that shift through ongoing programs, then perhaps you can have people who understand or have a different way to look at women, people who have a different way to look at the elderly, people who know how to treat people as human beings with the universal humanity extended.
Will you be assisting in the memorial service or in the funeral?
So I think you'll remember that Acting King Dalkolostra was away when this ordeal happened. But as soon as he was informed, the first thing that he did was try to seek help to assist with the funeral arrangements. And one of the companies that we reached out to, Avbob, received our request positively. and they said they would assist with the burial of all 18 of the victims. And then was later announced that the Premier's office would as well assist. So now we are coordinating our efforts so that these families can have a dignified send-off for their loved ones.
That was Prince Mbasa Sekdawo from the Royal House of Amafago, just telling us that there are projects that they will be implementing just to put youth into work, and they are also working with the police, or they do not want people to blame the police, but to work with the police. It's back to you in studio.